Were you an 80s metalhead?
Nope. I loved all the weird music in the 80s.
The
I was like, oh, Taco, why don't we have more like this? That was me.
Yeah, and then he only did one song anyway.
Right.
Of course,
Matthew Wilder, my hero, where'd he go?
Well, the number one selling music genre in 1989 was heavy metal.
Metallica.
Parents feared the worst. Satan worshipping, drug use, loads of sex, and suicide went along with it. Terrible, horrible. Parental advisory burned into albums and records.
Yeah, and Snyder of Twisted Sister was really active in those conversations about that. He was a big advocate. And talk about a guy with his feet on the ground. You know, I've seen interviews of him, and he's like, man, I am so lucky that I've had the success with the We're Not Gonna Take It song has been featured in. It's the commercial success that they put that into other television commercials and all that he made tons of money off of. And he's like, thank goodness. He's like just the most grateful guy in the world.
Right, and he's got his own radio show and everything like that.
Oh yeah. And he's just an entertaining, fun. He's like a fun guy like all the rest of us, kind of doing his thing. I don't know. And I don't know why that's surprising. I mean, that's a bigger question. Like, why are we surprised that people who are very successful in entertainment are nice?
This whole thing is kind of all about the people who listen to it, because the research back in the 90s said that all these people listening to metal were going to have all kinds of problems. So now, decades have passed. How did the metalheads turn out?
Wait a minute. Are these all the people currently in Congress?
The people that are listening. The people that listened. People in Congress. Maybe.
This could be explaining a lot.
They want to know how they turned out. It says pretty okay, says Humboldt State University. Middle-aged metalheads now are more likely to have engaged in risky behavior in youth. They in no way differ from non-metal loving peers and college students in terms of life satisfaction and current functioning.
Life satisfaction. So they don't have less life satisfaction because they listen to Iron Maiden
or worse,
Kiss,
or worse functioning in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the prediction.
All
hell was going to break loose.
Yeah, it says, no matter what you listen to, if you were out there, piercing parts of your bodies you weren't supposed to, and not bathing, and slamming each other in mosh pits, you probably grew up to be just fine.
Well, never underestimate the human ability to lose interest and move on. Welcome to the Bill and Jason Show. Hopefully something you haven't lost interest in and moved on from. And here we are, yet another week of excitement.
Isn't it just awesome? Thank you again for having me here.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Well, it's like one of those things. You just worry sometimes. You're just going to get sick of me. And it's just going to be the Jason and His Thoughts show.
Well, I wanted to thank you for leaving "and Jason" in the title of the show. Because it starts with Bill and it could just end there, but it doesn't. It says "and Jason" and then "show" is on the end of that. So my name is actually closest to the word "show," which seems like a really. I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So the other day I'm going through my theater blogs and stuff like that, and I just, or sometimes I just type in theater or new stages or things like that, and I found a blog in Vancouver, I believe it is, a blog called let me just find out that it's oh my goodness, it's not. I'm sorry, it's not on a blog. It's in the Guardian.
Oh wow!
It's in the Guardian, and talks about the Booth Theater in New York City. They had a stage show, and during the show, or rather just before the show, when all the pre-show stuff is happening, they've got the stage lit up, and you can see the somebody's apartment or house or whatever it is, and it's in low lights, and you've got the pre-show music going on, and they've made all the announcements, and the lights are about to go down for the 2-minute mark of when everybody's supposed to take their seats. And there's several rules in theater as a theater goer. And they're usually not even talked about unless
they're not posted.
They're not posted, but you show up on time. In fact, early.
Yeah, you don't want to show up late.
Right, exactly. You don't get up during the performance. You wait for an intermission. Okay,
unless you're incontinent.
You keep quiet and you listen. And unless you are a performer or a stagehand, you do not go on the stage.
Yeah.
These are the pretty much unwritten rules of the theater. Well, according to this, and they have it on video that I can share probably I'll put it on the end of the show maybe, and show everybody what it looks like. But because it's a quickie video that somebody took from the audience. Some guy sitting in the audience about 4 rows back decided to get up and walk towards the stage. In his hand is his phone. Okay, he got to the stage. There's no steps on the stage. He climbs up on the stage, walks 15 feet to the wall, which is a flat. It's not a real wall, to a fake outlet, which is not a real outlet, and he plugs his phone in. He plugged his phone in. He had to climb on the stage beforehand. Security comes down. They take him off the stage. They unplug the phone from the fake outlet, and then they escort him out. And to make matters worse, they pretty much, from that guy, decided everyone was an idiot and get on the microphone and say, "Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed the performance. Please turn off your cell phones, and for no reason, may you go on the stage and plug it in to charge it."
Right, because I was like, well, he's doing it.
Right.
With the herd mentality.
They
people
must have
start lining
assumed
up.
that they could do that. So,
Could I charge it after you?
oh my gosh, it's just
That's insane.
I know, it's really insane. So, what prompted this for me to want to talk about it was the idea that people, or rather people that do what we do in front of audiences, there are these boundaries. There's these rules. So, and our boundaries, I don't know about you, have been pushed on a regular basis. And as much as we try to make rules and expect that people are going to know them, we have to deal with the fact that people are going to step past those boundaries on a regular basis. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
What kind of has that ever happened to you?
You mean in terms of, because you're speaking of like what the audience members participate, like coming up and kind of crossing the boundaries.
There are times that we want the audience to be a part of this, and there are times that the audience they can't step into that world or not allowed to, and we may not see them coming or whatever it is. We have boundaries as performers between us and the audience. What would yours are?
So
what are yours?
So example would be you're talking about, which has happened to all of us, me on numerous occasions. You've talked about it before, where you're just starting to make an announcement on the microphone and talk to the audience, and someone's like, excuse me, and they're trying to get
Good
your
evening,
attention.
ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's performance.
While you're
We're
talking
about
on
to
your
talk to
speakers.
you just kind of go like this for a second while they're talking to you, and you're on the speakers, and you're about to introduce the bride and the groom, and they're going, wait, no, hold on, hello, hey, no, and when you finally turn to them, could I request a song?
Right, or where's the bathroom, or like, when are you going to play something I can dance to, and it's dinner, you know, or just something really, really inane. You know,
I've had people,
never like, there's a fire in the bathroom, you know, they're like, you know, they're like SpongeBob, and it's never like something really important, like, oh my gosh, I need to tell you folks about this.
I'm radioactive.
Yes, this guy has a ring of fire that he discovered in the bathroom. It's a personal problem, but he wants you to know that.
Yeah, and exactly. And so, that's happened to you before? How have you handled it? I know when it first happened to me, when it started to first happen to me, it would freak me out. I would get frustrated. I wouldn't be able to say what I wanted to say. I'd finish and I'd talk to the person, and I'd just be annoyed. And then I thought to myself, I'm not going to let that happen again. The next stage there's like stages to it.
Right.
This
and you
first
punch
stage,
him, and you go, well, that's not good.
The first, right. Well, that's kind of what I ended up doing. The first stage is frustration and scared, and I'm not sure I can do this. The second stage of dealing with that is I'm going to attack them. And the worst attack is in the middle of the thing. This guy goes, "Hey, wait!" I go, "Hold on one second. This guy has something to say to all of you. One moment, please." I've done that a couple of times. I'm not proud of it. Not proud of it at all.
Yeah.
But I was proud of it as hell when I first did it.
Yeah, in the moment.
Oh man, I got him, man.
And how did that impact the rest of the audience?
Oh, nobody liked me. Nobody. I think one time it was like the brother of the bride or something.
Right. Yeah. Way to endear yourself with the audience.
Right. And after that, it's like, you do this long enough, and you just have to find ways to be able to handle it. I mean, things happen. It's like when you work in radio, first radio job, when you're doing your news, and one of your buddies comes in and he lights your copy on fire just to see what you'll do.
Right. To keep because the show must go on.
Right. Or they make faces at you from the other side of the studio to try to make you break. Okay. You think that's funny. You have fun with them at the time, but in a live situation, you freak out about it. So how do you deal with that?
What's ironic about that is that when I did my morning show in Duluth, one of the things that set my morning show apart is I welcomed interruptions. So it got to the point where people would just habitually like come in and burst into the studio, and that was just like, oh, new scene,
right?
And they'd be like, whatever that would be going on, or like, I think, and there was like, oh, well, whatever, and we would go with whatever direction it would go. It was
right.
Really,
well, I think that's a key to part of the key of being able to handle that
is to go with it.
Is to go with it. It's not always the way, but it is if you are prepared well enough, and your shows were well prepared. So you could and now welcome those things. So now not only were you welcoming, but you actually within the script are inviting them in. You're expecting them to happen. There are probably a few that you even scripted to make sure happen. But because it's part of what might happen instead of, oh my God, I hope it doesn't. Now it's easier for you to go with it when it does.
Well, actually, I'm thinking of, because there was a period where, that was not every show, but it was commonplace for a lot of years. And then for many years, that didn't happen. And when I think about like what was different, and I think some of the key things that were really different that people weren't coming up and going, hey, is I got out from behind the booth. I wasn't announcing from behind my booth.
Yeah.
And trying to talk to people. I'm like out in the audience or on the dance floor or wherever like that. So it's actually creating a spotlight somewhere.
Which could be part of it, and mentally for you, it's you've removed a barrier.
Yeah, and also
even though
like
that barrier still could be gone if you're behind it. But
yeah,
go ahead
and it also tells us that the audience recognizes that the booth isn't a shield of invisibility. Right? They recognize that too, like they can't be seen back there going, hey.
And
right?
go back the other way, and you realize that it is not a shield of invisibility for you.
Well, yeah, okay. I suppose you want to say that. So anyway, so it's like being out there, that made a difference. But the biggest thing that made the biggest amount of difference is being in charge.
Yeah.
Like when I stepped into just being in charge and not just being upset the way that people should treat me, but rather show up and be in charge.
Right.
And then of course, for the sake of this conversation, I really need to distinguish the difference between being in charge and controlling others or controlling what others do.
Or just being a jerk about it.
Right.
Like
it's
the guy
really,
says, hey,
really...
You want to say something? Here, you do it.
Really, really different. Because the truth is you can't control what others are going to do.
No.
You can't control the environment, but you can be in charge. And being in charge means, like, okay, is you are the one that is taking positive action toward an intention or toward something that you are trying, an outcome that you're trying to create. No matter what circumstance is going on,
Right.
you remain committed to that, and you are working with other players and bringing them on board to do that. That is being in charge.
Right.
And that produces amazing results with bringing people around to your shared goal.
Right. And another way to say
Not
that,
your way of thinking, not doing it
Right.
your way, but bring it around to that shared goal. That's being in charge.
Right.
That's leadership. Whereas being in control is like, do it my way, dang it, or screw you. You don't understand my job.
Right.
Because one is all about you,
Right.
and the other one is all about something a little greater than you and everybody else that's there.
Right, and understanding that intention helps you to stay confident towards that. It's almost like steering a ship to point A to point B. The ship is going to have to go off course every once in a while. There's a storm, there's a rock, there's another ship. So you either say, okay, well, I'm going to run through the storm. I'm going to drive over the rock. I'm going to hit the other ship, or I'm going to go here and here and here to where I need to be. But as long as you, in charge, gets from point A to point B in a confident way, all those other things become happy accidents that make you look like you were prepared for anything.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Well, and then the thing is too is like when you're out there hosting or you're making announcements, and if you are in charge, it becomes that much less comfortable for anybody to. I mean, their balls have to be really big to get up there and go, I'm going to go screw with this guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, because they're going to look bad even without you taking any action. Like, here, say what you got to say, a-hole, or reacting in that way at all. So it's like creates that kind of thing. Like when you go into a theater, it's like it's kind of set up for that, and you're like, well, I don't want to mess with this. I want to mess with that. I'm here to be a spectator and stuff like that.
Well, and you still have those people though, and how do you deal with it? Is how you deal with, and you have other things that are going to step to those boundaries, and that confidence and that being in charge really exudes where your boundaries really are. I mean, when here's another one. Somebody comes up with their iPhone and they say, well, I want a song.
Yeah.
I don't have that song.
Oh, right.
Well, I've got an iPhone. Just plug it into your system. Come on, play it. Why don't you just play it off my iPhone? Okay, there's a boundary there, a reason why you wouldn't do it. That oftentimes, in fact, most of the times when you're DJing and you're going from song to song to song, moment to moment to moment, you don't have time to explain to this person the philosophy behind just not going there. So you have to find a way to deal with that person on that boundary. So and some people don't have that boundary. Some people are like, bring up your phones, man. I don't know what I'm doing anyway. Others are like, I've got it planned. I got my thing. So there's another boundary you have to worry about. Or having an uncle who wants to get in on a situation when things are happening forward on your script that you've been told ahead of time that there's a boundary now that the bride and groom have, and it's involving the uncle.
Well,
how
sure.
much he drinks or what he may or may not do.
Well, and this now you're getting into territory of something I'm really experienced at because I spent over what's something bigger than 2/3, 3/4, like the majority.
Something bigger than 2/3 would be 3/3.
Almost all of my career, I thought that my job was to please people, and so I'm like trying to please everybody, and I always lost. I was always on the losing end of that, you know, because the person's like, "Hey, play this off my phone." Okay, let me try to please you. Okay, it doesn't really work for the rest of the room, but I'm pleasing this person.
Right.
Well, now the room's upset. Well, let me try to please the room.
Right.
And then when people react to you when you're trying to please them, it's like, well, this guy is no good. It's like it just gets worse.
Why doesn't he just know what he's doing?
Right. I mean, the more that you try to please, the less people respect you and will just walk all over you and just treat you like crap, even though you're like, but I'm trying to please you. Okay. Now, the converse of that is to recognize that, again, you're there for a purpose. And it's like, and then you look at things that come at you as, does this fit in with the purpose that I'm here for or what I'm here to do?
Right.
Like, I mean, my board actually has a little mini jack in it. That in emergency situations, I can go to phone backup,
Right.
you know, and go in there. Or like, oh my God, I don't have this song. Thank goodness for YouTube and the internet, you know. But that doesn't sound the best, but they're hearing it. And
we've never done that.
that's what they're the happiest about, right? And so when people come and say, hey, couldn't you just play it off my phone? It's like, I can't. It's completely self-contained. Or aren't you connected to the internet? No, I need to keep this clean and no viruses. I'm sorry. It's just something I cannot do. I am terribly sorry. I cannot do. And you just like stand in that. And they'll eventually go sulking away. At just being unreasonable, smiling and saying like, no, I am sorry. And there is no script. It's like any time that I've ever, say this, say that, have this. They don't care. No. They don't care. They want what they want.
Right.
So it's like, oh, I'm sorry. This is something I cannot do. Is there anything else? Like, so you want to look at closing things to end the conversation.
Right. So being not having to be a pleaser to everyone and not having a problem with the fact that you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see that? Now you got that in about 5 minutes, and it took him 20 years of counseling for that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm still screwed out. So you are the winner.
Yeah. Well, and if you have any comments you'd like to make about this, or if you have boundaries, what are your boundaries?
How do you deal with that?
What was the last really big boundary issued thing that you had to deal with, and then how did you handle it? Tell us in the comments. We really want to know about it.
Yeah.
We would love for you to find us on Twitter and check out Facebook. And do us a favor, if you're listening to this show on a regular basis, if you really love it, we want to keep doing it. And the only way we can keep doing it is to have more and more listeners. So this is what you can do for us. Tell 5 people. Have them subscribe. Be a part of it. And the bigger it becomes, the more we can do it.
Share it on your Facebook page.
Yeah, do that too. We'll see you next time. I'm Bill Hermann. That's Jason Jones. And this is the Bill and Jason Show.
Broadcasting from high atop planet Earth at a rate of 96 kilobytes sampled per second over the interweb in an effort to stop glorifying being busy. This has been an entertainment experience production.